Hey folks, today we're covering Tinto Flavor 44 and this is going to cover Poland, Lithuania and Ruthenia. A little bit more of a focus on the structural side of things for these three realms. Obviously in a very similar location on the eastern side of Europe, so they're going to focus mostly on what they bring to the game structurally rather than through events. Although as always, I will leave a link to this in the description down below, and Pavia has been posting some of the events in the comments, so you can go take a look at those as he keeps posting them. But to begin with, they're going to talk about Poland. So as always with these dev diaries, you can see the description here. What's been going on recently for Poland, you'll find yourself at war with the Teutonic Order when you do start playing the game. And then if you do pick Poland at country selection, you'll also see this breakdown of the realm as well. So you can see their name, their flag, they are a monarchy, they are a settled country, they have 70 dynamic historical events, and then you can see the ruler as well. He's got some very good stats as well actually there. 91, 88, 89. Not too bad, and he's only 26, so if he lives a long time, this is going to be a very good ruler for Poland. Their primary culture is Lesser Polish. Their primary religion is Catholicism. They have 78 locations, just over 1 million people, 24 ducats a month, 653 manpower, and no ships for Poland. And then you can see the breakdown of their culture. Lesser Polish actually the greater of the two, which is kind of funny. That is at 63%. Greater Polish, which is actually lesser than Lesser Polish, is 33%. And then a few other ones broken into there as well. And then you can see Catholicism, 99.48% of the religion of this country as well. And then the next screenshot you can see, these are the lands of Poland. Obviously you can see those mostly in the middle of that map. Not the easiest way to see it, but you can see them highlighted there as well. Next, they're going to cover the same information, but for Lithuania. You can see the description here. Once again, obviously intertwined with Poland and everyone else in this area as well. You can see the graphical version once again, the flag there. They are the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. They are a monarchy settled. 38 historical dynamic events, and then also the leader here, the Grand Duke, with 90, 78, 89. So a lot of good rulers in this area of the map. And then you can see their primary culture, primary religion. I'm not going to try butcher either of those names. They have 103 locations, just over 1 million people, 31 ducats a month, almost 6,000 manpower, and again, no ships. You can see the breakdown of the culture, a lot more of a mix here compared to most of the realms we see in these dev diaries. And then the same thing for their religion as well, a bit more of a mix here. So you'll have to either go along with that or try get rid of those other religions and cultures, depending on what you're trying to do in your campaigns. The next screenshot, you can see a similar thing to Poland, where you'll find them on the map. The next map makes it a lot easier to see. This is the diplomacy map mode. You can see Lithuania, you can see the Teutonic Order, and then the other realms around here as well. As I said, you will find yourself at war when you do start playing the game. That is against the Teutonic Order, and a lot of the realms around there are involved with this when you do begin. So the next one they're going to cover is Ruthenia. Again, the description here, subjugated during the Mongol invasion. They're now trying to push out on their own, but there is a lot of things going on as well. The Tatar yoke they are involved with still. And you can see again the name of them, the flag there. What an amazing flag they've got. And they are a monarchy, a settled realm. They've got 11 dynamic historical events. You can see the prince here. You can see his stats. Not quite as good as the ones we've just seen. Primary culture is Ruthenian. Primary religion is Orthodoxy. 79 locations, 800,000 people, 24 ducats a month, 362 manpower, and no ships once again. And then you can see Ruthenian, that is the primary culture of this realm, and it is 100% Orthodoxy. And then the next screenshot you see, this is where you'll find them located. Now, this area of the world, this has been covered in previous dev diaries. I think there was one on Muscovy, and it covered all the mechanics around this area of the world, what's going on with the Tatar yoke and the mechanics around that as well. The next thing they're going to cover is the structural content for the three different realms. So the first one here is for Poland. You can see the crown, you can see the nobles, the clergy, the burghers, and the commoners. They do have some localized names here, which is always nice to see. And you can see all the different privileges they start with. The first one they're going to show us here actually is the Polish merchant seal. This is for the burghers, and this gives you maximum tax for burgher estate plus 5%, trade efficiency plus 1%. So obviously the burghers all around trading, money making, and this really leans into that. The next privilege is also for the burghers, Novi Fori. This is max control minus 10%, so you're giving up some control. Monthly progress towards free subjects, 0.10. So I guess you'll try retract this as soon as you can. You probably don't want this in effect for a long time, although if you're trying to move towards free subjects, it's not the worst. And I guess early on, it's quite hard to actually max out control. So I guess it's not too bad early game anyway. The next privilege is for the commoners, invite German settlers. We have seen this, I think, in other dev diaries. I think a whole swathe of like Eastern Europe can get this privilege. But you can see maximum tax for the peasants estate, minus 10%, Enable German migration events. Yes, we've definitely seen the migration events anyway previously. Maybe the privilege is Polish only, but we've definitely seen those events in other dev diaries, and then you can implement that, and then you get these events around migration, and if you want to lean into that or not. The next estate breakdown is for Lithuania. You can see the same information: crown, nobles, clergy, burghers, and commoners. The nobles there with a special name as well, and you can see all the different privileges they'll have at the start of the game. And then similar to Poland, they do have some unique content as well. They've got a government reform that you can see here. I'm not going to try pronounce it. I have tried about 10 times and I just get tongue-tied. Estates power minus 50%, which is a fantastic bonus actually. Estate satisfaction equilibrium minus 10%, tax efficiency minus 10%, cabinet seats -1, and then traditionalist monthly progress 0.20. So it does reduce the estate power, but as you can see, you're giving up a government seat to do it, which is kind of bad to give up, to be honest. Less tax efficiency and less estate satisfaction. So really is up to what you're trying to do, whether you would want to have this in place or not. Maybe you would want to replace it. We'll see, obviously, once we get to play as this country. Next, they're going to show us the same information, but for Kiev. You can see in this one, a little bit different. No crown listed at the top. Instead, it's nobles, clergy, burghers, commoners, and then at the bottom, the Cossacks as well. And you can see them here, the Kievan Cossacks, and then the same information you would see for the other estates, but obviously it is all around the Cossacks here. In the next screenshot, you can see more information around this. You can see their language, their culture group, how many people are currently under the Cossacks, and then you can see in the next screenshot, select a new privilege for the Cossacks, and they have some special ones as well. So allowed free roaming, allows tribesmen to migrate. Cossack land rights, that moves you towards decentralization. Respected Cossack traditions, monthly influence minus 15%, so kind of weakening your culture, but that will make them happier if they have this. Sanctioned atamans, this is efficiency of your cabinet plus 5%, which is pretty decent. And then protected faith of the Cossacks, tolerance of heretical beliefs +1. So you can lean into some of those different religions you'll find, and it won't impact you quite as much. Next, they're going to show us the advances, starting with Poland. So the first one, I'm not going to try pronounce it. This is proximity cost minus 5%, a pretty nice bonus. You'll implement this as soon as you can if you don't already start with it. The next advance for Poland is available in the Age of Renaissance. This is the annexation diplomatic cost minus 10%, parliament base support plus 5%. So that means when the parliament starts, you are 5% closer to hitting that 50% you need to actually pass what you're trying to pass. So pretty nice bonus there for you. The next advance is Council of the Three Lands, allows the Council of Three Lands. Yes, unfortunately, they don't show us what this does. It looks like it's probably a special bonus or maybe a reform or something, but we will have to find out when we get to play it. Unfortunately, they don't show us exactly what it does. The next one, the thing you've all been waiting for, Winged Hussars, available in the Age of Reformation, and that unlocks the cavalry unit of the same name. You can see these here, a fantastic unit. If you've played EU4, you've probably built these units. Why wouldn't you? And in EU5, you can build them once again, obviously. And then after that, you can get the late Winged Hussars, and they unlock the upgraded version of these as you progress through the game. Again, just making your army, and especially your cavalry, just better and better. Next, they're going to show some advances for Lithuania. The first one is Migrant Opportunities, Rural Migration Attraction 0.25, Towns and Cities Migration Attraction 0.25 as well. So I'm not sure why it isn't just overall migration attraction 0.25, but I guess it works different ways. But this is going to allow you to attract more people into your realm. And then speaking of realms, 2 realms is the next advance, cultural capacity +1. So you can make more cultures tolerated, accepted, and then that will allow those populations to be more useful to your country. The next one is Chancery Slavonic. This is available in the Age of Renaissance, monthly prestige 0.05, and then the efficiency of your administration plus 10% as well. The next one is all around being the Supreme Duke of Lithuania, and this is available in the Age of Discovery, and this is just crown power plus 10%. Well, I say just crown power. Crown power is exceptionally good in this game, so the more you can get, the more tax you get, the more other benefits you get as well. The next one is the Statutes of Lithuania. This is available in the Age of Reformation, and this unlocks a policy of the same name. You can see that in the next screenshot. This is in the legal code law system, and this is revoked privilege cost minus 10%, monthly progress towards centralization 0.2, monthly progress towards free subjects 0.10. So if you are trying to lean into a more centralized, more free subjects kind of realm, this is going to be very useful to pick up. Obviously, if you're moving away from that, you won't want to get this implemented unless you're kind of forced to do so. Next, they're going to show us some advances for Ruthenian culture realms. The first one being the Legacy of the Rus. This is available in the Age of Traditions, Cultural Tradition plus 10%. The next one, the Mother of Russian States. This is available in the Age of Renaissance, Urban Building Cost minus 5%, Prosperity Recovery 0.50. You're probably going to be in quite a lot of warfare here. Prosperity Recovery especially is very useful after that, obviously bringing your realm back up to speed, and you can get to that little bit quicker. There's also a cabinet action that speeds it up, but if you can get some just by default by having this in place, that's going to be a nice bonus. The next advance is reuniting the Rus. This is available in the Age of Discovery, and this is monthly legitimacy 0.05, separatism minus 10%, so trying to bring everyone back together and not try fragment it back out again. The next advance is the Ruthenian state. This is available in the Age of Absolutism, stability investment costs minus 10%, so that just makes it easier to invest into, yes, you guessed it correctly, stability if you do need to get into that, if your stability is running low. Next, they're going to show us how you can form Ruthenia. You can see the Form New Country UI here, Reform to Republic, Reform to Theocracy. You're probably not wanting to do that. You're probably trying to form Ruthenia, and you can see this here, a Tier 3 formable country, and you do need to own at least 113 locations in the following areas, and you can see some of the list there, so you'll try to get that done as quick as possible. Next, they're going to show us form Poland-Lithuania. This is a Tier 3 formable country. You can see the possible advances. These are the bonus ones you'll get if you do form this. Although some of these are linked to Poland and Lithuania, you can see this basically merges the list together, so you can get those advances as you progress through the game. You don't lose them. So if you start as Poland, obviously, you don't lose the hussars if you do this. You just get them merged into the combined realm you'll have. And then you'll see the requirements below this. Now, obviously, if you don't want to form Poland-Lithuania, maybe you want to form Lithuania-Poland instead, which is obviously a very different realm. You can see the possible advances here, very similar to the other one. Do you know why? Because it's the exact same ones. And then you can see the requirements below that as well. Obviously, I'm only joking there. If you are playing as Lithuania, you'll get Lithuania-Poland. If you do start as Poland, you'll get Poland-Lithuania. And those are really just the differences between them. And then next, they're just going to show us one event because they say they kind of ran out of space in this dev diary to cover the events, as I said at the beginning. So if you are interested, again, the link is in the description down below, and Pavia has been posting some of the events in the comments to this dev diary. But as you can see, there's a whole bunch of information here. There's over 100 combined events for Poland, Lithuania, Ruthenian countries, and the Commonwealth, no matter who forms it. So they're just going to show us one here, the rise of the Schlachter, definitely how you pronounce it. And this is all around the nobles, what they're trying to do in your realm. How dare they do this? And then you'll have to react to this as well. And you can push for aristocracy, or you can push for plutocracy instead. So the two ways you want to take it. Do you want to push towards your nobility, or do you want to push away from that? And then whatever you're doing there, that will decide how this disaster ends and what you're trying to do as well. But with that, folks, that's the end of the dev diary this week. Let me know what you think about it. Again, a little bit different here, just mainly showing us the structural side of things. And then the events, as I said, you can check those out on the website if you do wish to do so. But let me know what you thought about it. And do you think they're going to beat the Teutonic Order at the start of the game? I will say the Teutonic Order, pretty powerful in this game, so you're going to have a bit of a risk going up against them. So you're going to be trying your best to defeat them in this first war, and I'm sure you get second and third war in the future. But with that, that's the end of the video today. We're going to find out about Kilwa and Zimbabwe on Tuesday, and then on Friday, we're going to find out about Switzerland and the Hansa. So that's going to be really cool. There's also a dev diary around modding systems. Not something I usually cover on the channel. I play good mods, but I have no idea about actually building mods. But if you are interested in that, there is a dev diary around that on Wednesday. And with that, we're not very far away from the launch of the game, so hit the like button if you've enjoyed today's video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I've covered all the dev diaries, all the Tinto flavor, Tinto talks. I do separate discussion videos, and I'm going to be live streaming the game when it does come out. So you can come into the live streams, ask any questions, and I'll try my best to answer them for you. But with that, we'll leave it there for today, and I'll see you all next time.